we are going to find the derivative at the point pi over 6, negative 3. Alright, so first off, we need to find the derivative of y with respect to x. And since this is 1 plus cosecant of x divided by 1 minus cosecant of x, it tells me I probably need to use the quotient rule. So that's what I'm going to try. And the quotient rule says, let's take the derivative of the top. Well, the derivative of 1 is just 0. And the derivative of cosecant is negative cosecant x cotangent x. So this is all the derivative of the numerator. And then the next part of the quotient rule says multiply that by the denominator unchanged. Subtract the derivative of the denominator. So again, the derivative of 0 would be, or 1 would be 0. The derivative of cosecant is still going to be this, but now we've got a negative out front. So it's going to be the same as this, but opposite sign. So cosecant x cotangent x times the numerator unchanged all over the denominator squared. Okay, so we've got, I guess it looks a little messier than it actually is, because this is one big term that I need to distribute to two things, and this is one big term, distribute to two things, and I'm going to subtract those. So if I take all of this and distribute it to 1, that stays itself. All of this distributed to this would give me a negative cosecant squared cotangent x. And then I've got this minus. Need to make sure I subtract all of this, so I'm putting minus. I'm putting the parentheses right away before I forget, because that's too easy of a mistake to make. So all of this times 1, and this times this. Very similar work. All over this stuff squared. Alright, so I've got this term, this term. Now I'm going to distribute this, make sure I subtract both of those. And I'm really hoping here that some of this is going to cancel out, so it's not quite so messy. Alright, so I had a couple little mistakes here. One typo was I really needed to say this was cosecant of x squared, so I need to add that in. And you may have noticed, hopefully you did, that this was a negative times a negative, so this should have been positive, and so now this is positive. Like I said, I was hoping some stuff would cancel and make it look nicer, so I was suspicious that I may have missed something when it wasn't. Not that it has to, but so now these are equal but opposite, and those can cancel out, and these are the same type of thing. They're both cosecant x's times cotangent x's, and they're both negative. So that gives me negative 2 of those. Alright, not much more I can do with the derivative. Now I can worry about the other part of the question. Where's the derivative at, or what is the derivative at this point? So I don't really even need this negative 3 here this time, because I only have x values to plug in. So the derivative at pi over 6 is going to be negative 2 times the cosecant of pi over 6 times the cotangent of pi over 6 over 1 minus the cosecant of pi over 6 squared. Alright, so if we think of the unit circle, pi over 6 has a cosine of square root of 3 over 2, sine of 1/2. So the cosecant will be 2, and the cotangent would be cosine divided by sine, which would work out to be the square root of 3. And this is 1 minus cosecant of pi over 6. Well, I just did that there. That was 2. And so this gives me negative 4 square root of 3 over negative 1 squared, but negative 1 squared is 1. So all of that to figure out the derivative at that point should be negative 4 square root of 3.